Okay, so if you've ever stared at an exam paper and felt your mind just completely go blank, this is for you. Today, we're not just talking about exam pressure. No, we're going to learn how to master it, how to turn all that anxiety into your single greatest advantage. Yeah, if that sounds familiar, trust me, you are so not alone. It's that classic pre-exam panic, right? Your brain feels like it's both overloaded and completely empty at the exact same time. But what if there was a way to actually control that feeling instead of letting it control you?
So, the first thing we've got to do is completely reframe how we think about pressure. We usually see it as the enemy, this thing we have to get rid of. But what if science actually told us that the very thing causing all that anxiety is also the key to unlocking our absolute best performance?
Look, what's happening in your body, it's totally natural. Your brain is releasing hormones like cortisol and adrenaline to get you ready for a challenge. This isn't some flaw in your system. This is the system, and it's designed to heighten your senses. The trick isn't to shut it down, but to learn how to steer it. And this is the big aha moment, right? The goal isn't zero stress. Zero stress means you're asleep, basically. Think of it like tuning a guitar string. If it's too loose, you get no sound. But if it's too tight, it snaps. We're looking for that perfect tension, that sweet spot where you get peak performance. And this whole idea, well, it's actually got a name. It's called the Yerkes-Dodson law. And this chart shows it perfectly. See how as stress goes up, so does performance, but only up to a point. Once you go past that peak, performance just drops off a cliff. That zone, right at the very top of the curve, that's our target. Okay, so the big question is, how do we actually stay in that peak performance zone? Well, I'm going to give you a super practical anti-stress toolkit. These are 3 simple, powerful techniques you can start using literally today to dial your stress to that perfect level. All right, tool number 1, this is a mind power-up. It's actually a technique from cognitive behavioral therapy, which is all about how our thoughts, feelings, and actions are all connected. So when that negative thought pops into your head, you know the one, I'm gonna fail this, you have to actively challenge it. You stop and you replace it with something more realistic, like, I am prepared and I'm gonna do my best. It sounds almost too simple, but this little act of reframing can literally rewire your brain's response to pressure. Next up, a tool for your body. When you feel that physical panic start to set in, your heart's racing, your breathing gets shallow, you can short-circuit it with something called box breathing. Let's actually try it right now. Breathe in for a count of 4, hold it for 4, now breathe out for 4, and hold again for 4. By controlling your breath just like that, you're sending a direct signal to your nervous system that you are safe and you are in control. It's amazing. And finally, our third tool tackles your study method itself. It's called the 50-10 rule. Super simple. You work with intense, deep focus for 50 minutes. Then, and this is the non-negotiable part, you take a complete 10-minute break. Get up, walk around, listen to a song, do something totally different. Your brain needs that downtime to process and reset, which makes your next 50 minutes just as productive as the first. Okay, so you've got the tools. Now let's get into the real game plan for the most critical time of all, those final 24 hours before the exam. Seriously, having a clear, simple plan for this period is one of the best ways to cut down on all that last-minute anxiety. So here's what that stress-free countdown actually looks like. The night before, easy. No last-minute cramming. Just do a light review, pack your bags so you're not scrambling in the morning, and get a full night's sleep. In the morning, fuel up with a good breakfast. Do a few rounds of that box breathing, and get there early so you're not rushing. And when you finally sit down with the paper, just breathe. Scan everything, and start with an easy question to build up some confidence. You know, sometimes knowing what not to do is just as powerful. So in that final week, you have to avoid these classic anxiety traps. Do not try to learn new topics, it's just too late. Don't compare yourself to your friends. Everyone's on their own path. Absolutely do not pull all-nighters. Sleep is where all that learning actually sticks. And don't panic and suddenly change your entire strategy. Stick to your plan. Oh, and try to eat some decent food. Your brain needs good fuel. I came across this quote from a student, and it hits the nail on the head. The exam paper at the end of the day is just a set of questions. The real monster is the one we build up in our own imagination, the one that tells us we're not ready. When you learn how to manage that inner voice, you take away its power. And that really brings us to the single most important thing I want you to walk away with today. An exam is a measure of your preparation. It's a snapshot of your performance on one particular day. It is not, and it never, ever will be a judgment of your intelligence or your value as a person. Really letting that sink in, separating your self-worth from your results, that is the ultimate key to mastering pressure.
So I'm going to leave you with a question. What is the one technique you'll commit to using? Maybe it's reframing those negative thoughts, or using your breath to calm down, or trying that 50-10 study rule. Whatever it is, just remember that managing pressure is a skill. And like any other skill, it gets stronger every single time you practice it. So go on, start building it today.